All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Monday, May 1st, 2023, new month. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much again. Let's go ahead and get started on the day. New month. Last week is done. Last month is done. Start from zero again, right? Back to the beginning. Starting from scratch, excuse me. It's just something you just get used to all the time. So let's do it. We got the gauntlet this week. Don't forget, I did an actual recap of the week, recap of our trades. Also previewed the week on YouTube. Take a look at that last video we just posted. I posted it yesterday. So let's go ahead and get to it. Dow futures down about 10 points. NASDAQ down about 15. Not much going on. S&P down about 3.5 points. 41.85. Russell 0.13%. Crude oil continuing to go down 2.42%, 74.93. If you guys watched the video yesterday, I talked about ExxonMobil hitting multi-decade highs, and of course, right on time, Goldman Sachs actually downgraded them. So they downgraded their price target. You could see from 118 to 118.34 to 116.29. Crude oil is down 2.41%. It's below $75 a barrel. Gasoline futures $2.48. Again, remember that OPEC plus, oh, we're going to do cuts. Can't manufacture demand. Demand is slowing for gasoline. Again, that's usually a sign of slowing growth. That's usually a sign of recessionary. Keep that in mind too. Again, we had a recession last year, technically speaking, back-to-back quarters of declining GDP or negative GDP growth. But again, we'll chart a couple of these names, especially on the oils, see if we can catch some opportunities. Gold futures down up about 0.77%, 2014 an ounce. 26.20 for silver futures, up 3.88%. Copper futures are up. Again, that's usually good. It goes together with the S&P, $3.98. Euro dollar 110.32, up 16 pips. 136.73, up 39 pips for the dollar yen. Keep in mind, Forex may be a little tough because we have the FOMC coming, but I'm going to definitely keep an eye on some Forex trades, maybe some dollar pairs that we can possibly trade. 8 pips down for the pound dollar, excuse me, 125.56. Bitcoin is down this morning 2.7%, 28,680. 1854 for Ethereum futures, down about 2.5%. Again, we're still looking for that 30,000, 35,000 for Bitcoin, and 2,000 for Ethereum. Volatility index 3.8% to the upside, 1638. We talked about that on the recap as well. Make sure to watch that video. I talked about insurance protection, right? Buy insurance when you can, not when you need to. So the price of insurance volatility index is up today. Dollar index is flat, 101.65. 10-year treasury yields 3.46%, up about 10 basis points. Nothing really out of the blue. Keep in mind we have a lot going on this week. On semiconductors, reported earnings. So what does that do? That is helping the semiconductor stocks. You can see AMD is up 91.01. So let's go ahead and start charting some names together. I went ahead and retweeted the on semiconductor earnings. $1.19 beats by about 10 cents, a 109 estimate. 1.96 billion in revenue. 1.92 billion in revenue was estimated. 114 to 128 adjusted second quarter EPS. That beats estimates of the 106. And let's see here. Oh, just got some new news here. Chase and Amazon announced new benefits and features on the Amazon Visa card portfolio. Sees Q2 revenue. Again, this is on semiconductors, 1.98 billion to 2.08 billion. The estimated was 1.933 billion. So again, that does beat. That is helping the semiconductors. Let's take a look at on semiconductors now at 75.20. You got a gap to fill here at 76.96. I don't know if they have a ton of volume, to be honest, but I think we're just going to stick with AMD and NVIDIA. If you guys remember, we shorted AMD last week. We are now propping higher. We're at 90.92. Right here is your resistance, which is the 20-day moving average around 91.12. We'll wait for that break. If that does break, then we'll see what we get. But again, the earnings are on Tuesday, tomorrow. So there really is no reason to want to jump into it right away unless you're just trying to scalp a couple of points to the upside into the run-up into the number itself. Let's see if I can bring up the earnings calendar with you guys. You guys can see it. All right, here's your earnings calendar. AMD, again, Tuesday after the close. Ford as well. Starbucks. Today was SoFi. They beat. Norwegian beat. On Semiconductors beat as well. So all those numbers are on the Twitter. At GAR Capital has a blue check mark. We are verified. I pay them to do that, so we don't have any scammers or anything. Again, all the news will be there as well. Qualcomm on Wednesday, Apple on Thursday, Shopify on Thursday, AMC on Friday, if that's your thing. Football TV, good God help us all. That stock has been collapsed, but that's when you just go for it. That's one of those names. WWE, if you remember, they were bought out. So again, WWE by, I think it was Endeavor, UFC. So let's see if they have, what's their earnings. Again, I'm not going to trade it or anything, but again, I'll keep an eye on the earnings. And Etsy reports Marathon Oil, Fastly, a lot of names that are high beta are going to be reporting on Wednesday as well. So a kind of a high beta week as well in terms of the stocks. Datadog is up there, DraftKings, Lyft, Carvana's there, Square, Block. So a lot going on, but again, AMD being the big one. Again, that's probably the highest cap in terms of market cap for the names tomorrow, other than probably Pfizer, but AMD's probably more. So that's where we are. Let's go back to it here. AMD 91.12. Again, we're going to keep an eye on that. JPM, again, it is up this morning. Happy to see that JPM is just gobbling up market share. 144.68 will go to the daily. We are going to fill this gap here, so let's go ahead and remove that. 144.57 is the highs, or right above the highs of February. That would be the new 52-week high. Yep, new 52-week high. So again, we want to go ahead and see if we break above 144.57. You got a lot of room to 167. That's the next gap. But other than that, no major moving averages above on the daily. I can't say a really great setup at all. But the good news is you're above the 100-week moving average, and that's what we want the S&P to do. And financials haven't been doing that great, but JPM is starting to break out, which is a really good sign for JPM investors. Thank you, God. We needed that. So let's see what else we got. Let's answer the questions here. The market had a great week last week. Do you believe we retrace and retest some levels? May is usually a weak month. May is actually a weak month. That's correct. But seasonally strong for the NASDAQ. So again, pretty curious. We know what is strong for May is the volatility index. Seasonality for the VIX tends to be very strong. So where we are now, guys, is what we call a pivot point. Right in the middle. We don't know where we're going. Your pivot point is right around 41.50. I've been saying that for weeks on Twitter, but now we're at 41.84. 42.07, guys. 42.07 is the 100-week moving average. If we break that, we are going to continue higher to the August highs, around 43.09. Just be careful, though. You want that weekly candle to settle first. So again, just because you wick it doesn't mean it's going to be bullish forever. You want to go ahead and actually get a settled close this week of 42.06. If 42.06 breaks this week and we actually settle above that, 43.09 is the next target, and that was my target for 2023. My bull case was around 4,500, but imagine that, right halfway point of the year, 4,300. Interesting, but we might be breaking out soon. Very, very interesting. And then Bitcoin will bounce with that. Oil should bounce with it as well if you get some more demand. That means the dollar is sliding. So again, we just don't know where we're going to go because we do have the Fed, and we also have the largest company basically on planet Earth reporting earnings. Who knows what they're going to say? Again, very, very important to hear what they have to say on that call and their earnings. They don't give the best guidance or any kind of future guidance. They're very, very coy. That's Apple. I've been trading Apple for years. So again, don't put too much emphasis on the forecast because they're not going to give any. The most important thing to me that's going to stand out are going to be the buybacks. If they're buying back stock, there's a pretty good reason why they're doing it. They're insiders. And they're going to add that to the balance sheet if they do. If they don't say anything about buybacks, I expect Apple to actually reject, if that's the case. Getting a little stretched here. You're starting to see we have that gap fill, which I think we get 171.46. Sure, we could play that run up into it, but we need a break of 170.05. Maybe catch that. I talked about that on the video as well. So again, we're probably looking at 175 as your resistance, and then we probably reject around 170, maybe retest the 20. And if it does break out, maybe we do continue higher. 180 is your upside target. Keep in mind, guys, we're about $12 away from all-time highs on this name. What a comeback. If you guys remember back in December, that thing was at 125. Good old Apple. Just own it. Are you bullish or flat bearish going into the summer? Tough to say, but again, I am bullish the stock market towards the tail end of the year. In terms of right now, I think we get a rejection. I honestly do. I think we're going to probably pull back a bit. I hope I'm wrong. But again, we're starting to get a little stretched on these valuations. I put an interesting stat there on Instagram regarding about Microsoft and Apple are about 60 to 70% of the gains of the stock market. That is not sustainable, guys. It just isn't. So we need other names to pick up the pace. We need financials to bounce. Hopefully FRC is done with this nonsense. Now JPM takes over. Maybe the financials can catch a bid. Oil's coming down now. Not the best, but maybe we can get some of the discretionary, maybe the high betas start catching a bid. But it can't be just 5 or 6 names running the stock market. Can't be Nvidia and Facebook, or Meta, excuse me, Google and Amazon and Apple and Microsoft. It just can't be just a concentration of 5. That is not sustainable for a healthy bull market that has complete reversal written all over it. And again, all we've been getting is market expansion, multiple expansion. I mean, sales have been up at least, but Amazon's cloud revenue has declined. Microsoft, yeah, with AI. Google, again, their ad revenue declined. Metaverse, they have spent a lot of money on their metaverse projects. Again, that's more cash burn. Google, the best thing about them is that they're doing 70 billion in buybacks. Now the question is, does that permeate to the other stocks in that sector, the communication sector, like a Meta, like a Netflix, like any other tech company in there as well? Is that going to make the difference? But again, guys, we're getting too concentrated. So don't be surprised we reject that 100-week moving average. Doesn't mean we can't break it down in the future or a week later, 2 weeks later. But again, you got a Fed week coming. It seems that now the cheapest play here is to the downside because everyone is bullish. So again, you're looking for reversals. You can see it right there. We need a settlement above that. Right now, what I'm talking about in terms of bearish, flat bearish going into the summer, I think we pull back down to 4,000 personally. Not the worst thing in the world. Just get a little bit of a reset on the volatility index, get a little reset on the valuations, and then I think some bulls will defend that level, and then we'll continue higher. But I think we get a pullback and reject one more time. Now again, we could probably just sort of 4,500 this week for all I know. But it is a pivot point right now. Very difficult to really trade it. So again, I'm going to be very, very conservative this week because it is the gauntlet week. So we're going to be very, very careful, just like we were last week. What do I got for SoFi resistance levels? SoFi, interesting enough, their CEO has been gobbling up stock. I've been reading that on FinViz. A lot of insider buys. So $6.58. Again, if you're talking about the daily, no real resistance really to around $8.52. There is no major moving averages. They're above the 50, they're above the 100, they're above the 20, they're above the 200. If we go to the weekly in terms of a little more space out there, you got clear skies all the way to 1021. That's where you're looking for. But you need to break up $8.52. That's where we'll probably get interesting on SoFi, so it can finally break out a little higher. Maybe not to all-time highs, but a little higher. Seeing a little reversal here this morning. Google ready for a breakout. Let's go and see here. GOOG. Google, Alphabet. All right, guys, here's the deal with Google and Alphabet. 110.81 is your gap fill. We need to break here 108.80. I'm going to make sure to put an alert at 109. If 109 breaks, I'll play the 110s. And if it doesn't break, I'm staying the hell away until 101.35. But that's the level you need on Google. You need 109. And then you take it very conservatively, take the 110s, and then see if you can catch that wick higher, 110.81 or 110.60, excuse me. But pretty choppy on the last 20 days, Austin, on that one. NVIDIA puts. Dare people actually short AMD? NVIDIA, how tough? NVIDIA, let's take a look at the weekly chart. You got some resistance around 289.74. I did tell Investment Club back around 263, 265 that, hey, you want to start taking some profits. We're getting a little stretched on NVIDIA in terms of valuation. Obviously, the stock has gone higher. Again, I haven't sold anything of NVIDIA. I'm fine with it. But again, just be prepared that we're starting to get to that point where, hey, if you break 290, that means the S&P is above that 4203 level anyways. But you're getting to very key resistance. So what I want to short here, no, not with AMD reporting, but you can see just this chop mess on NVIDIA. Yet pretty much just stay away of NVIDIA for now, at least until earnings, which I believe is next week or in a couple weeks. But below 258, I think that's worth possible puts. Above 290, that's possible calls. But you could see just consolidation here for the past month since NVIDIA has soared. Nvidia has been just a difficult one to trade, at least unless you get to momentum, and difficult to trade to the downside. My apologies. Upside, I mean, just buy and chill. That's what it's been doing at least the last couple of months. But in terms of the stock market here, guys, again, you're really at an inflection point or a pivot point. Again, do the bulls not care about what's happening in terms of the softening consumer? Do they not care about the Fed possibly being more hawkish? It's really a bet on the Fed. Is this the last one? If this is the last hike and they say the word pause, you're going to go to 4206. And if they say we have a long road to go and we're not done hiking rates, we're going back down. And again, it lines up perfectly with resistance levels of that 100-week MA. Weekly MA. How about the VIX? How low it's gotten? Again, guys, I mean, the market is telling you it's starting to get a little heavy and a little stretched. So again, we have to be careful. We haven't been this low since October 2021, November 2021. We're at a 15 handle at one point on the VIX. So again, I would not be surprised that we pull back this week. I'm actually bearish this week if the Fed says they are not pausing. If they're pausing, add the rocket fuel because you're going to go higher. And that's basically it. And I also put a chart on that from Bloomberg on Instagram as well about how the market reacts from a pause or the end of a Fed hiking cycle. So you have pretty much three options here. Hey, are we going to pause? Again, a pause can be that you can turn back on anytime. Are we done with Fed rate hikes or are we hiking more? Those are the three options. A pause obviously would give some help, some relief. A stopping of, like, they're not going to do anymore, that's the end of the cycle, then you're definitely going to soar. And more rate hikes, the market will be off sides. The problem is that you have two forces fighting here. We have resistance on a technical basis that tells us a reversal is coming, that we're going to fall because we're hitting those resistance levels. And you have the bears who are the most net short of S&P 500 contracts since 2011, and they added more shorts. So imagine that. Again, you have those two forces coming together. Something's going to happen. And if usually that's the case, it's good things for us traders because we get to take advantage of those moves. So should be an action-filled week after the Fed on Wednesday. But we'll be here every day going over it step by step, and we'll see what we get moving forward. But no positions open here. Nice and clean. We'll see about futures. We'll keep an eye on Forex, and we'll see about the options market, see what the market gives us. Uber is tomorrow in the morning in terms of earnings. AMD is after the bell. Again, appreciate you guys as always joining me. You can see the 10-year Treasury yield's not even moving either. So maybe just the all quiet on the Western front of just positioning. The main thing I want to say today is keep today an observation day. Put your alerts. Watch this is up for our Discord members premium masterclass. So have those alerts up. We will let you know as always what's going on. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers.